All right, Semi Goodman, Tszyu-Joey Spencer, what do you make of this fight?
It's going to be a good fight, you know. I think if we get the best of Tim, I think, you know, he goes through him. I think his approach is going to have to be a little bit, you know, not as reckless early on, and then get back to the Tim we all know, and that's the bloke who's so, you know, destructive and can be such a force. So I think he's just going to be a little bit smarter early on and you know, defensively aware. And if he does that, like Tim's got great. I think his skills are actually pretty underrated, especially internationally. I think a lot of people write off, you know, how not just Tim but Australian boxers are and some of our skill sets. But yeah, I think he's just got to be a bit more tactical, a bit more smarter early on. He gets that right. I think he goes through Joey.
Were you surprised at how he approached that last fight against Buckram? How did you why do you think he did that, and did it surprise you?
I don't know. He said he was feeling really good, and you know, I'm assuming everything went well in their camp. You know, it's hard to say from the outside looking in, and hindsight's all well and good. But he might have been overlooking him. Like I know Buckram won he won the title during Ramadan, so he's, you know, like to do that's absolutely insane. You know, not to fuel your body properly and still be able to win a world title during that phase. You know, you're clearly a very capable fighter, and you know, so Tim obviously was fighting the best of him once his fight came around, and you know, he just got it wrong on the night. But that's high level sport. You know, you're going to take L's, you know, trying to be at that level. It happens, you know, whether it's in the gym or whether it's on fight night sometimes. And, you know, it was just one of those nights for him. He's a smart guy. He's got a smart team, and he'll be back.
A lot of talk this week about Tim Tszyu's mental approach to this fight and the pressure that might be put on him. How do you deal with pressure as a fighter?
There's pressure in every fight, and I hate the saying when people go in and say all the pressure's on him, and you know, I've heard that from Joey a few times, and I almost think like I heard a few people say it to me when I was meant to be fighting Inoue, and I'm going, nah, fuck that. Like, it's if you don't have pressure like from what you want to do yourself, and not like you don't really care about. I find the pressure from the outside noise. If you're focusing on that sort of shit, I don't think your head's in the right spot to begin with. So, but I think, you know, it'd be the same as any other fight, I think, for Tim. You know, he'd want to win every fight he goes into, so there's always pressure.
Joey Spencer, he's been confident, almost cocky, rocked up late today. What do you make of Joey Spencer's demeanour this week?
Oh, I actually reckon he seems like a decent guy. I don't think he's been too brash or anything. I think he's been like, there was a bit of a flare up today, a disagreement over the judges or whatever that was. But like he seems alright. Like, I don't know him, you know, from bar of soap, but like from what I've seen on TV and in the media, he seems alright. So yeah, seems like a decent guy.
Ideal scenario, Tim Tszyu gets to win this weekend. Lots of talk about a Thurman fight down the track. What do you make of Thurman's win over Jarvis, and how would you see a Tszyu-Thurman fight in the future?
Like you said, he's got to get through this weekend first, but I think it's a fun fight. That it's an interesting one, because like I still don't think, like, in all honesty, like, Brock's a great domestic fighter, but I think he's very limited once it gets to that world stage, and you know, it showed on the night. You know, you got to take those steps, and yeah, he fell short, and Keith looked good, but you know, to have a proper assessment on it, I'd need to see Keith, you know, in there with someone else, and see, like Keith said, he sparred twice. I watched Sean Porter's podcast, and he said he sparred twice for that fight. So, you know, how much has Thurman got left, and what can he really be like with a proper preparation where he's in intense sparring? Is his body going to hold up to that? They're all questions to be asked. So it's an interesting one, but I think if, you know, the best Tim Tszyu fights Thurman, you know, he's a big chance of knocking him off.
What about yourself? Been a tough few months. What's the last few months been like for yourself, and when can we see you back in the ring?
absolutely shit house, to be honest with you. So it's been all right. So I had a shit day, you know, with the cart. Felt sorry for myself for 24 hours. Had a few man tears, and then you know, got on with it. Had a little break. You know, it felt like I'd done a training camp for, you know, the best part of a year. Pretty much as soon as the hand healed up, and after the fight before, I was back into a camp for preparing for that fight. And, yeah, it was just a shit scenario. But look, I'll be back out very shortly. I've just only recently started contact work, and you know, we've given the eye so much time now to heal. It's been months and months without sparring, so we'll start full contact this week, and we'll have an announcement, you know, around the corner. So it's all exciting, man. I'm just itching to be back in there. So it's, you know, it's been the longest layoff I've had since COVID, really. So yeah, I'm just itching to get back in there and do my job. But yeah,
is that Inoue fight still something you want down the track?
He's got all the belts and 100%, but you know, I've got someone else in front of me again. That will be announced shortly. But so, you know, my focus is going to be on that. But fucking oath, like, that's what I'm in the sport for. I'm in the sport to win world titles, and you know, like, I was there. You know, I had all the preparation done. I put myself through hell and back. You know, I'm back doing the same now to get back to the spot where I was, and it almost felt like taking a loss, you know, like losing out on the opportunity, building it up. And I don't know whether it's the overseas fights or something. I just put the mocker on or whatever. You know, I was meant to fight on Timmy's undercard for Charlo, and that didn't go ahead. We had all the crew going over to Vegas, and then this time we've had everyone going over to Japan, and that's went to the shit house. So it's yeah, I'll put the mocker on these overseas trips. So I don't know how many I'm getting over. I'm getting over for the next trip.
Thanks so much, mate. Appreciate it.
All good. Thanks, fella. Cheers.